Okay.
He's coming.
We'll put this at the end for Alderman Michael to sign when he arrives, please. Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Just in time. The sign-in sheet's right at the end.
Perfect. Thank you.
Close this door, Susan.
All right, so let's call this meeting to order. It is 5:30. This is our first department meeting for the Budget and Finance Committee for the 2023 Fire Department budget. So with that, do we have any public comments or anybody have anything to say? Hearing none? Okay, we'll move on. Let's go to, the first item is 2022 Fire Department budget updates. How did we do? And we're gonna go through that here, but, you know, if there's any, we can do it all at the same time. It's up to how you wanna handle it.
Yeah, okay. I would say we do want to comment about both, how things are coming along as well as what we're projecting outward. First and foremost, we'll cover the revenue sections and paramedic collections as far as the revenues for the fire department total. There's one category that drives those revenues, and that's the billings for ambulance transport trips. Chief Tommy Hayes, if you can maybe elaborate on this GEMT program and the experience that we've been having as far as the revenues and the uptick in the revenues.
Okay, so in 2019, the federal government had a plan called GEMT, and what that was in the past, we were not reimbursed for Medicaid transports, okay? In 2019, it became available in Illinois, and we were one of the first departments to get involved. So since 2019, we have more than tripled our revenue based on that government money. So we're taking full advantage of, you know, everything we can from that, and it's really helped us out. And what we're seeing now is consistent revenue, which will be adequate and possibly exceed our contract negotiations and salary adjustments that we'll see in the future.
Okay. And our fees for ambulance service, is it, I know we raised them a couple of years ago. Are they in tune with other municipalities around here?
Well, so along with the guidelines that came out with this program was a consistent cost reporting system.
Mm-hmm.
And in years past, there was not a defined way to identify your cost for transport, medical transport. So the government came out with a way to do that, and the finance department and the fire department, we got together, we worked together along with our billing company, and we have we follow those guidelines, and we are following them to a T, and we are right where we should be.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Now, as every year when we do the cost report, we may have to make adjustments, and that's when you'll see me at the city council making those recommendations.
Okay.
And just wanted to make sure our residents are not charged for paramedic services, correct?
So how that
Directly?
works is, a Berwyn resident submits that claim to their insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, and we accept whatever is given to us by their insurance. So there's no out-of-pocket by our residents. People that are from other municipalities that receive our services don't pay taxes here, so therefore they are billed the remainder of whatever is not covered.
And then
But our residents do not.
Uninsured, then, is uninsured, we're not
And
going
also,
to.
yes.
Okay.
And so later on, even though we see the revenues right there, there is a portion that we have to pay, correct? And we'll see that later on with professional services with expenses, and they're directly related, correct?
Yes.
That's correct. We'll go into the line item as far as what the charge is for this program that's administered by the state, and we'll get into further that cost as well. As we're tracking the revenues, we are right at the budget, right? And this is through August. So with that being said, we're comfortable with that projection being at least $2.75 million in the years 2023. We'll keep it at that level through the forward years through 2026. But again, so far those numbers are strong coming in, and it is helpful to our general fund as
Yeah,
well.
I'd add that it's about 3 times what it was in 2018, so
Good.
it's really helping.
Good.
And just a quick question on that one. Chief, do you see like pandemic playing a big role in that?
No.
Or just in general?
So during the pandemic, if you recall, people were told not to go to the hospital unless they were very sick. So actually, our transports were down during that. So this is not driven by the pandemic or economic factors at all.
Okay.
So with that being the dominant factor in our revenues, we will go into now our expenditures, commenting on 2022 as well as the forward years, 2003. And at the top, salaries and wages, just, it's caution everybody that we are currently under union contract negotiations. Right now, the actual is trending according to our budget projections for 2022. However, with 2023, we have to be mindful that negotiations are currently underway. For now, just for projection purposes, we've assigned a 3% growth, but it's important to note that that's subject to change. In addition, we have our benefits and our stipends, that's all contractually driven. So we've done our best to map out our needs, the fire department's needs as far as stipends, but that's subject to change as well. Just one thing to bear in mind, and Chief Hayes could comment further on it, our overtime perhaps is larger than, trending in the last couple of years, but the Chief had a very important point to make in that is with the candidates.
So what we're seeing in the fire service across the country, and the same with the emergency workers, there's a shortage. Right now, we are short 3 people, so therefore our overtime reflects that. However, that also means we have 3 less employee packages, salary and benefits. So, that works together. We are making some concentrated efforts to address the recruitment and retention. We can talk about that a little later on too.
Sure.
I think one of the concerns I have is, and if we've done this or we should do this, is a staffing study. Because, we are losing, or a lot of times we do lose candidates to go to other communities that have less calls,
Yes.
and they pay more money. So while we're doing the union contractor, we have conversations, it'd be nice to see if we have a staffing study to make sure that we're servicing the community, the highest densely populated city in Illinois. And so if we've had the same kind of staff, the number of staff for the last how many years, is that enough for us, or do we have to look at things differently? So if you've done that, or if you can do that and look at that, that's something that we should do.
We are doing that. We're
Okay.
in the process, and that's all, taking the form and shaping up during negotiations.
Okay.
We're looking at what's best for the city of Berwyn and its residents.
Okay.
The other expenditures that we're seeing in this salaries and benefits, it's important to point out our benefits health insurance. For now, we were able, our broker at Berwyn Insurance was able to negotiate virtually no increase in health insurance earlier this year, and that's gonna help our 2022 actual results. However, we've gotta be mindful, 2023 and the forward years, we're budgeting for 5% growth in those costs right now, but that is subject to change, and we've just gotta be prepared if it should go further than that. So for now, we budget 5% increase in health insurance. Dental and life, we're projecting a conservative 10% increase in those costs as well. And of course, the other related expenditures, but accordingly. So salaries and benefits, again, overall, we're tracking as expected for 2022's budget. Next area of our budget draft worksheet is our general operating areas. First, our utilities, vehicle and gas. That's, there's inflationary pressures in that department, as we're all aware of, costs of fuel. And we are projecting, perhaps based on historic, about a 10% rise in those expenditures as things are tracking right now. Various other expenditures, yes, we do, as fire department's doing their best to keep costs under control, there's various factors that are outside of our control and handling. So on the general operating expenditures. And then that leads to the next line item is our professional services fee. And those are arguably the biggest drivers of the expense. The program administered by HFS, the state agency, they require to administer the program for GEMT that they retain 50% of the collections. They're entitled to that. And then where we're very encouraged by the revenue uptick, we must budget for that potential cost as well, even though the city, the net is a very significant benefit to the city. But that's where we're seeing the expense for the GEMT program.
And that's under contract, correct?
The GEMT,
It's an intergovernmental agreement with the state of Illinois, but we also have included in there the billing.
correct. Yeah, the outside, and we've estimated thus far that our cost is 90% of our costs in this area is attributed to this GEMT program. The remaining 10% is all other billers for reimbursement.
So what's the percentage again that the state receives?
State 50% is, yeah.
That's correct.
Then, the other area now is repairs and maintenance. We're fortunate that our fire department is able to perform a lot of the repairs that are needed in-house. Chief Hayes, if you can comment further on that. For now, it looks like we're below budget in that regard, but perhaps comment on the ability for our.
Well, I'll start with the maintenance and the buildings. And first of all, our firefighters do most of the maintenance in all the firehouses, so we're not hiring outside. We're not paying for that extra cost. For example, 2 water heaters last Friday we changed ourselves. Construction at the South Firehouse, remodeling the kitchen, putting up the cabinets, that was all done in-house by our people, so we're saving significant costs there. As far as the fleet maintenance, I've mentioned before, we have a mechanic who is emergency vehicle technician certified, which is required by the state. We have 2 and a third that assists them, and they do all the maintenance on our vehicles, so we're not sending those out to repair shops. We're doing all that in-house, and there's substantial savings there also.
Great.
And with all those updates, then the length of life on those vehicles is extended, right?
Correct.
Yeah, the main thing to be concerned about is, again, inflationary pressure on parts and
Yeah.
things of that nature that's out of your guys' control.
Right, we
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah. And leads to, that leads to our equipment, our turnout gear. For now, we're with the 2022 budget, but we've got to monitor that closely. Yeah.
Yeah, no increase there. We have a plan to replace, all the equipment to keep our firefighters and paramedics protected. And that plan is working and the budget is maintained, so.
Yep, good, we're good there. Then our equipment lease, which is a combination of various equipment essential to our fire department, but it's jumped, from 2022. We anticipate 2 new fire apparatus vehicles that we have to consider the lease payments that we have, I believe, for up to the next 7 years.
Those are 7-year agreements.
Yep. For that. And then finally, our internal service fund charges. Again, that's something that we that we work on at year end. We see how the claims are at the end of the year, and that's a process to determine what that final number is going to be. For now, we're going with the 2022 budget, but we'll have a better idea perhaps in February once we do our year-end close. So that's on the operating part of the fire department's budget. The next page is the capital portion, and under the revenues. In previous years, 2021 and plan for 2022, fire department was able to make a contribution to capital projects in the event of emergency capital projects that are needed and essential capital needs. And of course, that's going to help in what it's expected in 2023 to 2026. Chief Ace, you can probably be better at commenting on the notice on the projection basis. We have support vehicles, we have the North Firehouse addition, as well as various other things that need to be considered.
The support vehicles, we are down, 1 vehicle right now, and we have another one that is, getting close to its life expectancy. These are emergency vehicles that have to be replaced. We can't send people to emergencies in a vehicle that could possibly break down. Second, with the addition to the North Firehouse, multiple purposes there. To work on these vehicles, to store the vehicles inside, which currently we're unable to do, and also for training. I wanted to talk about the program we started at Morton High School, and this all ties into the recruitment and retention. So we are one of the first fire departments neighboring to start a program at the high school, where one of our firefighters and a teacher from Morton heads the club. You've heard of science clubs and different soccer clubs and things like that at the high school. Well, now we have a fire and EMS club. And what we do is we have all the kids, and if anybody came to the open house, you might have seen them, about 13 of them came out to help with the open house. It was great. So every Monday, they meet at the high school, and these kids get to see what it means to be a firefighter. They're gonna learn CPR, they're gonna learn some life-saving techniques. And our goal here is just to get kids in the community something to do, but also learn that, hey, this might be a possible avenue for employment later for them. So what we're gonna do with that also is follow them through their career. We have Berwyn firefighters that teach EMT and paramedic next year, starting next year. We're already doing the EMT at Morton College. So now these students, we will be able to show them how to complete the whole process and become a firefighter, paramedic. Some of them will go on to be nurses, but that's great. So we also plan on using the North End to help train also and do this program. So We're really excited about it. It's going great. I couldn't be more happy with it right now, so.
And when are we gonna start to build up? Because I know we're using the ARPA money.
We're hoping spring.
Okay.
We don't, we'll see.
Good.
We're still in the design phase right now.
Sure.
So, but we're hoping to break ground in the spring.
Okay.
And yes, that's more or less what we have as far as the fire department goes.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or? No? Okay. So let's go to new business. Basically, our new business is gonna be let's schedule and get, schedule some meetings within the next 3 weeks.
Yes.
We're gonna do them at 6, so we're gonna do 5:30, but we'll do them at 6 in the future. And you wanna just do that through an email, maybe, to us?
Yes.
If you wanna give us some timelines and dates, and then we can.
Yep. We have the police department on Wednesday. I'll check with Director Schiller on Public Works and then send y'all an invite once we can nail that down.
Okay, great. Sounds good. All right, thank you all. And one of the things here too is these are drafts, so keep these confidential. So if you can keep them amongst yourself, and we'll go from there, because this is work in progress.
Yep.
All right, I just need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn. Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Here we go. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, good. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, see you.
Look, we.
Good evening.